Hello friends, welcome to AWS with Jaymit. If you are absolutely beginners, you are in the right video. In this video, I am going to cover about what is API Gateway and how you can build your APIs in AWS. If you are new to AWS and don't have AWS account, go ahead and check. I have already created video about how you can create your AWS console account first time. So let's get started. I already logged in into my AWS console and we'll see about API Gateway. So in console you can search about API Gateway. From top you need to type here API Gateway. So API Gateway allow you to build and deploy API at a scale in AWS. So you are able to create and manage your APIs, backend APIs at scale in AWS. So it will allow you to fully manage your APIs in backends, where you can create different types of APIs, monitor it, and securely scale. You are able to scale it well in AWS. So what different types of API you are able to create by using API Gateway? It will support REST APIs, HTTP APIs, and WebSocket based two-way communication APIs. APIs, it means like we are giving some request from client to the server side, and then we are doing server side DB operation, and we'll get a data back and send in JSON format back to the client, right? So apart from this creation, there are other benefit as well, like you can develop at scale. There are easy monitoring stuff like CloudWatch and X-Ray and other stuff. You also able to do authentication related stuff, as well as usage plan and throttling and other advanced feature you are able to use by using API Gateway. So let's get started, do hands-on. We can create a simple, very basic API, so you can get idea how you can create first time your API. So we'll click on create an API. We have a different types selection, so we'll select REST API here. We will build it. We will create a simple, very basic API where you can get a list of users. So first we need to give here a name. We'll give a name users API, get user list API. We will build. We need to different endpoint type we are able to select. API endpoint type: regional API, edge optimized API, or private API. Private API only able to access from VPC. Regional API we are able to access publicly. Edge API, edge optimized API, like it, if you want to access from nearby location, it will be that. But generally we'll use the regional public APIs, and this will keep a default and will create API. So here we successfully created API. API Gateway API. Now we'll need to add a resources inside that. So first thing, we need to create a resource. So in resource, in root, we will give here name users. So we'll have a get users API, users, right? So we'll create a resource. It will create a like users. Now inside that we will add a method, which will be the get method. So for get method perspective, what we will do is the list of users will return, that we will return from Lambda function. So to resolve this get method, to get a list of users, we will use Lambda function to get it here. So what we need to do is, like when we add a methods in our resources, we will have to select here get method. So we will create a get APIs. So here we have a different options, either a mock or other HTTP API or other AWS service or VPC link. We will use a Lambda function to resolve this get call. And here we need to select a Lambda function. So right now there is no any Lambda created. So what we will do is, we will go ahead and create a one Lambda function. Lambda function is kind of like serverless function, where we are able to choose our runtime and able to create a serverless functions. We can only think about our business logic. So here we will create a simple function from scratch. We will give a function name like get users. The function name is get. We will select Node.js 2024.x and we'll create the function. So here we created a simple function, get users, and inside that we will have a default handler function code right now. So once it is created, we will attach this Lambda function trigger with our API gateway. So here you can see this Lambda function not have any triggers. Right now there is no any triggers, right? So we will attach this trigger from API gateway to Lambda function. So now here we will refresh this page. We'll create a method. We'll select a get method. Here we will select a Lambda function. So here we need to give a Lambda functions which we already created, like get users we already get in the list, right? So now we'll go ahead and we'll keep this other settings default. Right now we'll not adding any authorization and other stuff. We'll create a simple methods. So here we created a get method, get user method, right? So here now we are able to, so we need to deploy this API. Once we create a resource and methods, we need to deploy the API. So in that case, we need to create one stage. We'll say, we will give it a name, say for example, dev stage or a production stage, right? So we'll deploy this API. Now we created a stage as well and we deployed this API. So we have this method get, right? So here we are able to test this API. So in AWS console, we can go to the resources. In get, we can click on the get method, and here we will see the test section from where we are able to test this API. So when we click on test, it is giving us this response, right? Status 200 and hello from Lambda. So we created this Lambda function which having a default code right now. This is a default code. So what we will do is we will add a code which will return a list of users. So one user, two user, we are giving a two user in the list, status code 200, and we are returning the json.stringify object of that, and we will deploy this Lambda function code which we updated to give a list of users. So now we have this code ready, and when we test this API again, it will give us a list of users into the response. So what we will do is we'll select this and go to the test section and we'll do test. So now here we get a list of user in the response, right? The name, one user is Jaymit, another user is John, right? So we'll get a list of user. This way we can build our REST APIs. If you can call this API endpoint in your Postman, also you are able to call like this resources endpoint which you get here, right? This endpoint which you are able to call it from your Postman as well directly. So say for example this, and we have like users, it will give you a list of users here, right? So you can also call this from your Postman function. So this way we can create a API, a simple RESTful API by using API gateway and Lambda function. There are a lot of other feature as well in this, like we need to create a resources, we need to create a stages, and then we are then we are able to create a method and deploy it. We have also have a authorizers, like where we are able to add some advanced stuff. We can add a authorization on top of our APIs if you want to add any authentication before. Right now these APIs are public accessible, but if you want to add a authorization, you are able to add that. There is some other advanced features like usage plan. It will allow us to create a throttling and other stuff on APIs, like put some limit on max limit to do some calls. So we are able to create a usage plan. API key based access also we are able to give, so we can able to create a API keys and other stuff. So this way, like there are other lot of features available at API gateway level which we are able to use it. And API gateway Lambda function we will use to get a business logic, like we also able to do here DynamoDB or a RDS database connection and get the data dynamically from the database by using Lambda function and return into API gateway. So this way we are able to build a dynamic APIs. We also able to do some other kind of API as well, like WebSocket and other stuff, right? So this is a very absolutely basic stuff about API gateway to build your first API in AWS. Lambda function, by using Lambda function. So go ahead and dig into deeper by doing some hands-on. If you are absolutely new to my channel, please like, say this video with some of your friends, subscribe my channel, and also if you want to explore more about some advanced stuff in AWS, you can explore my channel for other video as well. Thank you for watching and thank you for your time. Please don't miss to subscribe.